niggas outside, steak, bitch, we out back.
Hey, yo, keep up with my feet up in the trap, I'm doing me. Keep my distance from these suckers, I can't let them ruin me. Drug dealer, pimps and hustlers, they the ones influence me. 13 jumped off the porch when drugs isn't true.
Hello, everybody. Hello, happy Wednesday to y'all. I am the official urban therapist. I appreciate you tuning in today. Now I know I told y'all that I was probably taking a break this week where doing live shows, but however, I do want to share this breaking news to y'all. Okay, I don't know if you are aware of this right now, but currently, what's happening right now is that different people they're at the Capitol right now, and they're actually doing a hearing based on the recent events in Buffalo, New York, the recent events that happened in Texas as well too, and in other parts of the nations with this mass gun violence that's happening right now, the mass shootings that are happening right now. People they're meeting right now, and they're sharing their testimony of that. Now, for you to see the full story of this, you could go to any news media outlet. You could go to the Washington Post, Fox News, or anything like that. They're covering it right now as we speak. But today, I want to preferably show y'all this segment based on Miss, I believe her name is Miss Everhart or something like that. I want to share with her perspective about the recent shooters. All right. The reason why I'm preferably sharing her segment because I want to honestly get y'all perspective about it, how the way she viewed the situation. I want y'all to hear her testimony. I want to also want y'all to pay attention to things that she was saying about her son as well, because her son was one of the victims of the Buffalo mass shooting, but he actually survived the shooting night. So I want y'all to just pay close attention to her testimony and everything. And I honestly want to get y'all perspective about this. And one last thing too is that I do plan on covering more about this, about the gun controls and stuff, but just not this week. All right. But I am going to cover this, very instantly, okay, because I believe that this is something that we really do need to talk about. This is one of these important things that are occurring in our nation right now that we need to be aware of as well too, because I honestly believe that there's going to be some type of change taking place. There's going to be some type of reformation that's going to happen. How soon it's going to happen, I have no idea, but I know it's coming. And there are some other things that I'm going to share with y'all as well too next week on regarding the shooters, especially with the Buffalo mass shooting that I have found out about as well too, that I've been researching and I found out about it. So stay tuned to that next week. But let me go ahead and share with y'all this particular segment. All right.
Ms. Everhart, you are now recognized for your testimony. Please testify, Ms. Everhart.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Zaire, my son Goodman, my son, or as I like to call him, the kid, was shot and injured by a domestic terrorist on Saturday, May 14, 2022, at the Tops grocery store where he was an employee in a historically black community on Jefferson Avenue in Buffalo, New York. Zaire, the kid, is now a 21-year-old man. He's pure joy. He's everything that is good in this world. And as I sit here before you today, I can hear my son telling me to stop being extra and get to the point. I was going to tell you all a bunch of fluffy, funny stories about Zaire, but I have a message. So I'll get to the point. As Director of Diversity and Inclusion with New York State Senator Tim Kennedy's office, stories of gun violence and racism are all too familiar, but now these stories are Zaire's stories. These problems literally knocked on my front door. These are issues that as a country we do not like to openly discuss. Domestic terrorism exists in this country for 3 reasons. America is inherently violent. This is who we are as a nation. The very existence of this country was founded on violence, hate, and racism, with the near annihilation of my Native brothers and sisters. My ancestors, brought to America through the slave trade, were the first currency of America.
Now, I want to pause a real quick. The reason why is because I'm very interested that we're talking about the recent gun mass shootings and stuff right that happened in Buffalo, but she's taking the approach of tackling the situation due to racism. All right, which in our fairness, the shooter who did this act of violence in Buffalo, New York, he was absolutely was a supremacist. All right, so I'm very interested to see what's going to be her take dealing with racism and how she's going to bring all this in together for some gun reformation.
Let me say that again for the people in the back. My ancestors, the first currency of America, were stripped of their heritage and culture, separated from their families, bargained for on auction blocks, sold, beaten, raped, and lynched. Yet I continuously hear after every mass shooting that this is not who we are as Americans and as a nation. Hear me clearly. This is exactly who we are. Education. Majority of what I have learned about African American history, I did not learn until I went to college, and I had to choose those classes. Why is that? Why is African American history not a part of American history? African Americans built this country from the ground up. My ancestors' blood is embedded in the soil. We have to change the curriculum in schools across the country so that we may adequately educate our children. Reading about history is crucial to the future of this country. Learning about other cultures, ethnicities, and religions in schools should not be something that is up for debate. We cannot continue to whitewash education, creating generations of children to believe that one race of people are better than the other.
Now, real quick, she's using this as an opportunity to talk about education reformation, which in our truthfulness, I get what she's talking about. But however, the main goal of this hearing is to talk about gun reformation, if it's possible that gun reformation is needed to stop the mass shootings. All right. So, and this situation that she's talking about, the education system. Like I say, I get it, I understand, but at the same time, just to be honest, it's really not the discussion here at this current moment. And another thing too, this by me going through higher education. One point that she made where she was saying that she didn't learn about her culture and stuff, right? So as Black Americans until she got her education, that is true to a certain extent. Well, when I was going to my college curriculum and stuff, right? I learned about American history, and I learned about American government history. I learned about government economics as well too, as core requirements of the courses that I take, right? And if you want to learn more about other cultures, you have to take what is known as an elective, all right? And you can opt to take that type of elective, just like what she's saying. But however, throughout the one curriculum, depending on what type of American history course that you take, or any type of history course pertaining to your degree that you're going for, right? A lot of these modern day curricula now, they do incorporate Black American history into the one curriculum now. I can contest to that because I done studied it. But the problem is that they only make it be only a section of it, all right? Meaning that it's only like a section or a chapter talking about Black history, all right, or Black American history, in this section, and it normally talks about, a few information about, the slave trading that happened between America and the European country and the Arab countries and different things like that. It talks about that, or Asia, any of these type of other countries. So it talks about that briefly, then it segue over to the American culture and stuff, right? Then it briefly talks about, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, different people like that and stuff, I'm saying? They only do it within a couple of chapters or two. Then after that, that's it. You don't hear nothing else about American history. Well, for us, Black American history. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying that her addressing this in this committee, I understand where she's coming from by that. It's about however, I don't think that in this particular hearing, it was to me, it wasn't appropriate for her to address this particular educational system. But I could be wrong, but that's my perspective, right?
Differences should make us curious, not angry. At the end of the day, I bleed,
Trey, what's up
you
with it?
bleed. We are all human. That awful day that will now be a part of the history books, hopefully. Let us not forget to add that horrific day to the curriculum that we teach our children. Guns. The 18-year-old terrorist who stormed into my community armed with an AR-15, killing 10 people and injuring 3 others, received a shotgun from his parents for his 16th birthday. For Zaire's 16th birthday, I bought him a few video games, some headphones, a pizza, and a cake. We are not the same. How and why? And what in the world is wrong with this country? Children should not be armed with weapons. Parents who provide their children with guns should be held accountable. Lawmakers who continuously allow these mass shootings to continue by not passing stricter gun laws should be voted out. To the lawmakers who feel that we do not need stricter gun laws, let me paint a picture for you. My son, Zaire, has a hole in the right side of his neck, 2 on his back, and another on his left leg, caused by an exploding bullet from an AR-15. As I clean his wounds, I can feel pieces of that bullet in his back. Shrapnel will be left inside of his body for the rest of his life. Now I want you to picture that exact scenario for one of your children. This should not be your story or mine. As an elected official, it is your duty to draft legislation that protects Zaire and all of the children and citizens in this country. Common sense gun laws are not about your personal feelings or beliefs. You are elected because you have been chosen and are trusted to protect us. But let me say to you here today, I do not feel protected. No citizen needs an AR-15. These weapons are designed to do the most harm in the least amount of time. And on Saturday, May 14th, it took a domestic terrorist just 2 minutes to shoot and kill 10 people and injure 3 others. If after hearing from me and the other people testifying here today does not move you to act on gun laws, I invite you to my home to help me clean Zaire's wounds so that you may see up close the damage that has been caused to my son and to my community. To the families of Ruth Whitfield, Pearl Young, Catherine Massey, Hayward Patterson, Celestine Cheney, Geraldine Talley, Aaron Salter, Andre McNeil, Marcus Morrison, and Roberta Drury, I promise that their deaths will not be in vain. Zaire and I promise to use our voice to lift their names, and we will carry their spirit with us as we embark on this journey to create change. I know that their collective souls watched out for Zaire that day, and I am eternally grateful to them for that. To the east side of Buffalo, I love you. I'm speaking directly to my people, to my hood. From Bailey to Broadway, to Kensington, to Fillmore, to Delavan, to Jefferson, and every street in between. Just like the potholes that we want filled in, yes, I keep it real. Together, we will continue to fill those streets with love. No matter what people say about the east side of Buffalo, we will not be broken. I was born there, raised there. I raised my son there, I still live there. And I do the majority of my professional work on the east side of Buffalo. I vow to you today that everywhere I go, I will make sure that the people hear the real stories of our people. For too long, our community has been neglected and starved of the resources that we so greatly need. I promise that I will not stop pushing for more resources to be funneled into the east side of Buffalo. Each and every person that lives within that community, we are family. Not a perfect community, but I know that we are love. To the greater Buffalo area, to everyone from around the country and the world who have reached out and loved on us. On behalf of Zaire, Zaire's father, Damian Goodman, my mother, my father, my sisters, my brothers, and myself, we thank you. We thank you for all of your thoughts and your prayers. Thank you for all of the love and support you have shown us during this difficult time. But I also say to you today, with a heart full, from the outpouring of love that you also freely gave us, your thoughts and prayers are not enough. We need you to stand with us in the days, weeks, months, and years to come, and be ready to go to work and help us to create the change that this country so desperately needs. And I will end with a quote from Charles Bloom in his book, The Devil We Know. Race, as we have come to understand it, is a fiction, but racism, as we have come to live it, is a fact. The point here is not to impose a new racial hierarchy, but to remove an existing one. After centuries of waiting for white majorities to overturn white supremacy, it is to me that it has fallen to Black people to do it themselves. And I stand at the ready. Zaire, this is for you, kid. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about this real quick, just briefly, just briefly. All right. So we heard from her point of view, her perspective, that her son was involved in the one mass shooting in Buffalo, New York. He survived, but he suffered from injuries. She also stated that this had happened to him, during his birthday or whatever stuff, right? So she made note also that she gave her son, for his birthday, a couple of video games and, just a little party, whatever. But this other kid, on the other hand, was armed with a weapon. So real briefly, let's talk about this real briefly. Now, is everything that she's stating in this hearing right now is a valid point to cause gun reformation, to cause gun control, to have the lawmakers change the policies dealing with these semi-automatic weapons? Or do we believe that we as citizens deserve the right to carry all type of weapons, whether it's a handgun, semi-automatic weapon, or whatever the case may be? We deserve that right. Now, last week and also, I was talking about this last week. I made a point of saying that I personally believe that we as citizens, I don't see a reason why us as citizens will have them type of weapons, such as semi-automatic weapons or, higher than that. I don't see a reason why we need to have these type of weapons in our persons. Then also made the reference as well too, that at the end of the day, we're not at war with each other unless we're causing to be at war with each other. Especially if we at this type of war with each other, why would we need these type of high weaponry for this type of quote unquote war? If that be the case. Now this hearing is still going on right now as I speak. There are going to be other segments that I'm going to share with y'all too probably within the days come, or if not, I'll start sharing with y'all one next week when I officially start doing back my main shows next week. But I will most definitely be talking about this for real, because I believe that this topic needs to be discussed for real. We need to talk about this. We need to figure out what would be the best course of action to deviate from all these mass shootings. Besides, people going up to the one Congress and talking to the House of Representatives and stuff about these issues, and that's another thing too that I want to bring up too, is that it's very interesting to me that instead of them allowing like President Biden or any type of president office, instead of them allowing them to go ahead and fully issue out an executive order to deviate these type of heinous acts, they want to do it politically. In other words, they want to sit down, they want to have a hearing, they want to have all these different meetings, right? Then after they have a consensus, right, then that's when they go to the one actual House of Representatives to create a bill or whatever, or a law to put into place. Then for there, we have to wait on the House of Representatives to vote collectively together if they either for, against, whatever type of said law. Then it have to go through the Senate and Congress for them to approve what the House of Representatives approve and stuff, right? Then on top of that, it finally had to go to the president desk where he's gonna finalize it and sign it. Within this whole entire process, this takes months and months and months for this to happen. Now, even though gun control is a very serious issue in this country, it's a very serious issue. It is not as serious as how they deal with the I'm gonna be real about it. It's not as serious as the issue that they was dealing with when we was dealing with the pandemic. When we was dealing with the pandemic for these couple of years and stuff, right? They push hard all the way up to make sure that certain laws were regulated and passed, certain acts was passed, so it could be beneficial to the citizen of this country. They did their very best to push these laws to the best of their ability. They push hard for it, but however, when we are looking at this particular situation, I honestly believe that this situation isn't, quote unquote, as important enough. But my question to them, that also to you is that when is it gonna become important enough for us to address the issue? When is it gonna become important enough to where we push hard to regulate these type of laws, where we push hard to make sure we have some type of regulation where the citizens of this country will feel safe, where they could walk outside, they could go to a movie theater, they could go to a game or a sporting event, they could go to the store, children could go to the school, where they could feel like they're protected and feel safe, because that's where it boils down to. Now, like I stated last week, y'all, is that I'm not against us in our Second Amendment of rights or bearing arms. I'm not against that. I'm for that. But we have to be responsible about it as well too. There are people out there that deal with different mental disorders who have access to these type of weaponry, whether it's that's a handgun or higher. People who have mental issues, they have access to this. There are people who not even qualified, such as children, who are not even qualified to handle these type of weaponries, but yet it's in their persons for them to access this. These are the issues that we need to address. These are the type of issues that we need to address and figure out a way to where we can reform these certain things where it be beneficial. Like, once again, I'm not against us taking away weapons or anything like that, or take away our Second Amendment right. I'm not against that at all. But once again, we have to be responsible. We have to be responsible. One last thing too, even with the one shooting in Texas and stuff, right? Just imagine if there's a certain law regulation, right, where when this situation was happening, right, just imagine if it was a law set in place where teachers were allowed to bear arms in their classroom, that it becomes a requirement for a teacher to take weapons training. It becomes a requirement for a teacher to take weapons training. Let me, I'm share this information to y'all as well too, because I just thought about this. Now, me being as a social worker, we're not required to take weapons training, but we are required to take training dealing with an active shooter. We take this training every single quarter. We take trainings dealing with active shooters. We take training dealing with irate people or irate customers. But however, people who are even higher up than me, for example, people higher up with, than me, for it's like people who are CPS workers or higher. Guess what? It is part of a requirement that they're allowed to carry arms, that they're allowed to bear arms, so they could carry weapons with them. They're allowed to carry weapons with them because they don't know that by them going to either one doing a removal or any type of situation, they don't know what's going to happen in that situation. They don't know if they're going to deal with an irate parent. They don't know the environment or anything like that. So they require them to take a weapon with them. And on top of that, they also have local law enforcement agency assisting them with that. So the reason why I'm bringing this point is because just imagine that just at least doing something as simple as allowing like teachers or educators to bear arms and give them training when to use their arms in a situation. Just imagine if they made that a requirement. How the situation would be different. Just imagine going to, different sporting events as well too, where it's not just security guards there, right? But actual citizens who are there, who are trained. And if in a situation where they pop up, they're trained and they know how to deal with these type of situations. That's all what a lot of people are saying right now in this situation. That at the end of the day, they want to be protected. They want to feel safe. I want to feel safe. It had disheartened me a whole lot when I was talking about this last week. It disheartened me a whole lot when my own oldest daughter came to me, not only to me personally, but she actually said it in the chat and a lot. She said that she said, "Daddy, do you know that the children was making fun of the situation? They was laughing about the one shooting. Then on top of that, Daddy, do you know that even at my school now, I'm starting to not feel safe because all the time kids be sitting up here fighting each other for no apparent reason. They don't have metal detectors at our schools." She was saying, "Hey, I don't even see no police officers there on campus." Unless it's a very serious situation. But the police officer on the campus is almost like 5 to 10 minutes away. That is unacceptable, even as a parent. That is very unacceptable. Do y'all know that by them being about 5 or 10 minutes away, that gives say after shooting more than enough time to do more than enough damage within 5 minutes, at least within 5 minutes. That is totally unacceptable. So yeah, I wanted to share this with y'all. Just like I say, I'm going to be talking about this more extensively next week when I come back. I'm gonna talk about this a whole lot more, but I want to just share this segment with y'all, and I might be showing some other segment of this meter too throughout the remainder of this week as well, just to give y'all some Easter eggs about what I'm going to be covering. I may also end up having a panel discussion talking about this too, because I believe that we need to have this conversation because it's way more important things that are happening in our country besides simple YouTube stuff that we deal with. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all tuning in to this breaking news story. I hope that the information I share with y'all, it does give y'all a certain perspective about what I'm going to be talking about, because I want to hear y'all perspective. I want to, so we could come up with a reasonable solution, so everyone in this country could feel safe. Thank y'all for tuning in. And like always, y'all continue to fight faith with faith, and I'll see y'all again next time. Peace out.